personal opinion. So my top 6 Game of Thrones characters are also probably not usually what people would pick. Quite honestly, I don't know if any of these are on most people's top 5s. But this is top 6.
Top 6.
I've got the list. I'm gonna go really quick here, but this I want to get this out of the way. If I want to do a longer one, we'll just cut it and then we'll do a different one on its own video. I did that. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 6. This is a controversial one. The Night King. the ice zombie himself. I think the idea of the Night King gets him in my number 6. I wanted him, like, I kept wanting there to be, like, this story that, like, justified the White Walkers or, like, humanized them. But I also didn't want that. I kind of did want them to just be, like, an evil, non-understandable force. And despite being conflicted and wanting, like, one or the other, I felt like they kind of did nothing, and they kind of, he just wasn't as cool as he could have been, but I love the idea of the Night King and the White Walkers, and so it's number 6 for me, because I was always kind of, like, trying to convince my girlfriend and other people that, like, they should be rooting for him, because I was like, do you think, like, it's like, I likened it to sort of, like, a disease in the body, like, or any just kind of like really terrible thing going on. All of the human characters in Game of Thrones are terrible people. They're schemers, they're connivers, they're backstabbers, they're murderers, they're all the sexual taboo things you can do. This is a terrible place for anybody to live. If this, purging of all of that wipes it out, like maybe that's what a place that just is completely done for needs. And I was like, the White Walkers are the cure for like the terribleness of this fight for the Iron Throne. And then, a couple babies will be born and they'll beat the White Walkers and they'll start new. I don't know. This is a weird like fable allegory. This is gonna go. I thought I was gonna do the short top 6.
I'll splice it.
Yeah. Number 5. Here we go. So number 6, the Night King. Number 5. This is the tricky one because I don't know who I'm throwing on here. It'd be a character that people might recognize. Or it won't. I'm gonna say number 5, Varys the Eunuch, because he is the counterpart to my actual favorite character. Actually, I bet people think he's the counterpart to my actual favorite character, and I bet people are still thinking they know who it is, and that it is a common one, but it's not. But Varys is cool. He's a schemer. He's bald. You never really know what side he's playing at times, and I love the characters like that. Number 4, here we go.
No wiener on that guy, right?
No wiener. Okay. According to him, but I don't know.
He could be
lying. Yeah.
No wieners on. Keep going. Sorry.
No, who else?
The whole Unsullied, right? They were.
Yeah.
Grey Worm didn't have no worm.
He did not. Number 4, favorite Game of Thrones character. I'm gonna go with Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay Bolton,
the insane psychopath. It's not somebody I like. It's not somebody I aspire to be, but it's somebody that the amount of tension and horror anytime he was on the screen, the unpredictability of it, is what made him so watchable for me. You get older and you feel like you've seen a lot of the storytelling twists, tropes, turns, and it takes something really special to like go into a show or a story and be like, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm like very nervous about like I'm nervous. This is unpredictable. As you get older, I think that's harder to accomplish, and Ramsay Bolton just like sent the fear of God in me for any character he was around. I didn't know what was going to happen, and that's why I liked him as a character, not because of what he did.
Yeah.
So maybe people would be like, well, that's not your favorite character. That's you. Shut up. Number 3. Here we go. I'm going to go Brienne of Tarth. This is maybe a surprise, but I really liked her story arc. She was really cool she's probably the closest I have on my list to like a hero character that sort of has plot armor and kind of like always has like, even though she faces all these obstacles, always overcomes them. But I felt like she didn't fall into the same kind of traps where she was like invincible. There was a lot of times she messed up. There was a lot of like times that like, she didn't get what she wanted. And there was a bunch of like relationships that she wanted, but she never got them because of who she was. And But I thought her storyline was really fascinating and one of the ones I enjoyed the most because I also like storylines where characters want something unattainable and the show doesn't placate that and give it to them. They don't get it. And
You talking about Jaime?
Yeah, Jaime, for sure. Jaime and kind of like being a knight, although she does kind of get like knighted towards the end or whatever. But yeah, wanting like Jaime, a relationship with Jaime. And everybody kind of being like, yeah, and even Jaime like thinking about it. And then like in the end, going back to his sister. But like, I like that and I appreciate that. And it makes the character more interesting because there's one of two ways they can go. They can just stay like hyper fixated on that or like go down this dark path and then they kind of become like a less interesting character because they don't change.
Yeah.
But when they don't get it, it requires the character to change and adapt and that keeps a character fresh. I think I'm kind of talking about wrestling almost right now. But I think that's like you gotta have your characters change so they don't become just like static. Yeah. All right, I got 2 left. Speaking of characters that did a lot of changing, but were always is so cool and I love, and maybe should be my number 1. He's probably the most other than Brienne, the most likable on this list. Number 2 is the Hound for me. I love the Hound. He's a big, brute, ugly, scary, but he actually is a good person and does typically the right things or wants to do the right things. And I find that story of somebody that is kind of viewed as a monster, but actually does, and like everybody thinks is like immoral and just this murderer, this, barbarian, but that person that actually, despite what everybody thinks about them, is able to like be who they really are deep down is like so cool. And the Hound, oh man, he's got some of the funniest lines in Game of Thrones too.
Bring me one of those chickens.
You got money to pay for it?
Not a penny. Listening to talkers makes me thirsty. And hungry. Think I'll take 2 chickens.
You don't seem to understand the situation.
I understand that if any more words come pouring out your cunt mouth, I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this room.
You're gonna die for some chickens.
Someone is.
I think like him and Arya, like I wasn't the biggest fan of Arya because kind of talking about characters that get too much plot armor and have obstacles but immediately succeed in them, even though like it's kind of not likely. Arya kind of got that treatment, but her pairing with the Hound kept me interested in her storyline because like they were so fun to watch together.
What the hell are you doing?
Practicing.
What, ways to die? Who taught you that shite?
The greatest swordsman who ever lived.
I bet his hair's greasier than Joffrey's cunt.
Friends on
Meryn Trant. The greatest swordsman who ever lived, killed by Meryn fucking Trant.
He was outnumbered.
Any boy whore with a sword could beat 3 Meryn Trant.
Syria didn't have a sword. Or armor, just a stick.
The greatest swordsman ever lived didn't have a sword.
So the Hound for me is number 2.
Fuck the water. Bring me wine.
Eat shit, dwarf.
Up the King's Guard.
We'll meet again, Clegane.
Fucking hope not.
Number 1, you didn't guess it because you thought I was going to say Tyrion because him and Varys were kind of like counterparts. My favorite character is the unpredictable one himself, Lord Baelish, Littlefinger. He is the unpredictable that isn't hard to watch, like like Ramsay Bolton is, but he was the kind of unpredictable where I was like, what is his end game? And he was basically like, he was like allying himself with one side and then allying himself with the other side and basically like fighting his own goals. So I was like, what is going, like, I love him. He's so fascinating. He's the sleazy guy, but there are times when he does things to characters you hate even more that makes you go, oh, do I actually like him? Because he was like very pivotal in like getting Joffrey, everybody's least favorite, killed. And it was like this moment where you're like really torn, like, I hate Petyr Baelish because he's like a sleazy scumbag, but like, I guess he did kind of help kill Joffrey. Is he good now? His character always played that line of, is he good? Can I trust him? Or what? Or is he scheming and is he like always going to be bad? So Petyr Baelish for me, best Game of Thrones character.
I'll tell you what doesn't scare me. Bald cocksuckers like you. You think you're fooling anyone with that top knot? Bald cunt.